Stop wasting time in practice and follow these iron drills. I'm gonna take you through some of my favorite drills that I use as a plus handicap that I know will help you play more consistent golf. Here's the thing, you don't need to do a ton of different things. You need to work on the basics and you have to work on the fundamentals. So today I'm gonna take you through my favorite iron drills that I know will have a big impact on your game. You can do them at the simulator, you can do them at the driving range, and there's no doubt it's gonna help you practice like a pro so you can play wicked smart golf. Let's get into it. All right, so before getting into some of the iron drills, let's kind of graduate there. So we got the gap wedge here with the grip trainer. I think that this is one of the best ways to start warming up. Too many people, I mean literally all ages, go straight to iron, sometimes woods, even driver at the range. It's terrifying. Like, I already stretched, I already warmed up, and now I'm actually like working on some wedges. Now I'm ready to film this video, but it's a process. Like, please do not rush this and risk an injury. So graduate, right? So we're just, again, trying to get our hands in a good position. And we kind of like want to think about it like this. You got to graduate from your wedges to your irons, to your woods, to your driver. And so I think that even as a plus handicap, I am still worried. I wouldn't say worried, but I'm still very much aware of my grip because earlier this year it got really strong. Didn't even realize it was hitting some nasty pull hooks. Not ideal when you're playing a fade. So make sure that we're just warming up, getting some smooth wedges or short irons. Get one of these grip trainers, the best $10 you can get. Now we can get into the iron drills. So the first iron drill that I have been using so much this off season, like it's pretty much all I've done the last few months, is an early extension one because, you know, I definitely have kind of had that where you stand up in it. Trolls on here and Instagram love to let me know, but you know what? I'm never said I have a perfect swing. But it's worked out. We've been able to get to plus handicap, so clearly okay, which again goes to show, guys, we don't need a perfect swing, we need a repeatable swing. I'd much rather miss thin than fat, which definitely is the miss. However, I did want to improve my ball striking. My goal is to get to a +5 handicap. I know I'm gonna have to improve my ball striking. So I've been doing this drill a lot. So again, you set up like normal. This is a 9 iron, so I usually do this with a 9 or an 8 iron. Basically set up like normal, and then we choke up all the way. And then we hover. We don't change, we don't stand closer. So what we're trying to do, so here's normal, we choke up, and now we're hovering. And so when we're hovering like this, we're gonna have to go down to get it. And that's exactly what you wanna feel if you're like me and you are suffering from some early extension. Because when you go down and get it, it's the exact opposite of this motion that a lot of us know too well. So let's see if we can hit a few. So get it here, hover, and it feels like, I really try to feel it. You know, one of the biggest things when you're making a swing change is to overdo it, to slow it down, to use less club, and to really overfeel those motions because it takes a lot of repetition to feel it. So again, 9 iron, I'm not doing this with a 7 or 6 iron, graduate there as well. So we'll start with the 9 iron, we'll get here, and you notice I'm only going to about here. I'm not trying to hit it full, I'm not trying to hit it hard, I'm really just trying to feel that motion. Not bad. So what I like to do is I hit about 5 of these. So I'll do 5 with the drill, and then I'll go 1 without. So trying to hover. And again, I want to feel like Tommy Fleetwood on this. Like, he makes such a good motion on that. So after I've done, you know, 5 or 6 and I feel pretty good about it, then we'll just go back to normal. And we'll just try and keep that same feeling. A little fat on that one and still pretty good. One thing that I have used a lot this year as well since its release, I got one of the first versions of it, is the Y-Golf alignment mirror. This thing is wicked smart approved. If you saw my video on it a couple months ago, you know I love it because when you're doing this block practice, whether you're at the simulator or the range or at home hitting into a net, that's great, but we gotta be careful that we're not starting to set up like this. We're getting our shoulders open or all those other bad habits. So this thing's cool because you can make sure that your body is positioned correctly. So I'm in the mirror right now is splitting it. If I'm back here, I'm on the back half, which I don't want. I don't want to be too far forward. So I love this because it got your feet alignment. You can check your shoulders, again, instantly can tell, and you can check your body line. So when you are doing drills, you want to make sure that we are not developing any bad habits. Unfortunately, speaking from experience. So for this drill, I actually learned this one from Boyd Summerhays, coaches Tony Finau and a handful of other pros. And I saw him after 2019. I went to Q school, missed it by just a few, and I felt like my ball striking was definitely had room to improve. And I really just didn't feel like I was coming shallow enough, right? I was way too, like most golfers, kind of over the top. And so we worked on, we called it the triple loop. So basically, like you and so many other players probably watching, you probably go inside a little bit too much. Now, obviously that's a little bit dramatic, but that's just kind of that. And then it leads to this flipping. We get steep. We don't transfer our weight very good. And that was me. It worked. I still was able to get to a plus handicap, but I just felt like it was holding me back. So we did this drill where we try to take it as far out. We call it the triple loop. So we go out, so that way you have to loop back in. So if you drew a shot tracer, kind of like it, it's kind of almost feels like Matt Wolf. Again, it's one of those drills where you have to overdo it, so that way you stop doing this. And when it feels like you're doing this, in reality, you're pretty much right on plane. So I do this one a lot if I feel myself ever going back to that old habit. So we'll try it out here again, out to in. Not trying to kill it, just trying to feel it. Ooh, almost shanked it. That's okay. That's actually a great lesson. I mean, a lot of people would edit that out and be like, oh, I don't hit bad shots. I hit bad shots, especially in practice. When you're in practice, you're gonna hit some really bad shots like that, and it's gonna be like, oh, don't, forget that one. No, learn from it. So obviously we hoselled that thing. So let's learn from it. Again, don't let ego get in the way, guys. Bad shots are part of the process to playing better golf. So let's try it again. Ooh, that was pretty good. So that's what I'm liking. It starts right, and then it draws back left. That was quality. I'm using a mid-iron for this one, so we graduated to 7-iron. Again, just want to make sure we're not getting any bad habits as we're doing this block practice. So setup looks good. Stance is good, just that triple loop, so that way we're swinging from the inside. I went a little hard at that one, but man, that was nice. So if you're someone, I mean, most people do take it too far inside. I'm definitely not a swing coach, but just watching enough golf swings, pretty easy to spot. And I think it's just kind of the natural motion, right? Because we're just kind of used to like that chopping an axe kind of thing. And I think that so many guys could just benefit from, again, do 5 of these and then do one like normal. So we'll do one more. Oh, that was nice. Perfect. All right, if you want to make that drill or any of these drills harder, use the old butter blade from Rip Golf. This thing is sweet. It's small. It's tough. I did a video on this one earlier in the year. If you can hit this good, you can hit anything good. But then to try it with the try a drill with a face this small, you're gonna have to hit it pretty much perfect. So we'll give it a try though. So again, that out to in, could hosel it, could hit it good, we'll see. Pretty good, just to start it a little left. Didn't quite swing out enough, but if you can, make practice hard, golf feels so much easier. So definitely love this club. Again, I definitely recommend people to use more forgiving equipment, but practice with stuff like this, so that way you're getting your fundamentals, because while game improvement irons are great, they're gonna make it really hard to, kind of figure out what is going on, since they mask a lot of those issues. Ooh, that was ugly. That's okay. One of the biggest mistakes I made in practice for so long was judging. I would get mad. I'd drop the club. I'd, maybe not throw clubs at the range, but I'd pissed off, just rake another one. At the end of the day, you're gonna hit a lot of bad shots. Let's save some energy here and learn from it. So we'll try one more. Triple loop. Ooh, so close. Pulled it, but hit it good. Had that draw. So again, the butter blade, you can use this for a lot of different drills. Watch the full video if you want to improve your practice, but hit this thing good. Any club feels good. Now another iron drill that everybody knows, thanks to Tiger, is of course the 9-shot. So I'm gonna move this just because it's not gonna help with this drill, since you're gonna have to change your setup a lot and you'd have to move that, because the 9-shot drill, as you guys probably know, tic-tac-toe drill, is you want to hit 9 shots with a mid iron. So I have a 7 iron. I'm actually going to grab a 6. 6 or 7, I'd say, is probably the best way to go, because then you have a little bit more workability with these clubs. So again, I graduated here. I would not do all of these drills in one day, by the way. These are just some of my favorites kind of put together in this video. But the goal is 3 fades, 3 straight shots, 3 draws at the low, medium, and high trajectory. So we'll start with our stock 6. See if we can do how many of 9. Oh my God, that was good. That went like 2 yards left. I'm gonna call that my straight ball right in the middle quadrant. So let's go on this one. We'll go the high fade. So again, all I try and do is just feel like a little bit more weight on my front and really try to lift it up. Just keeping that face a little open at impact. Oh, I'm gonna give myself that one. That was pretty good. 2 of 2. Could this be the day? Probably not, but you never know. So we went high fade. Next one we'll go low draw. So I'm playing this much more back in my stance to move that path right. Again, I do not normally play draws. I'm a fade guy, pretty straight player with irons. So I don't recommend taking all 9 shots to the golf course, but you might be stuck behind a tree. You might have something in your way. So you need to know how to hit all these stuff. Plus this drill is great for understanding club face awareness. So we'll try the low draw now. I kind of like this one. Ooh, look at that. Club twirl. 3 of 3. Okay, so we got the low, we got the high, we got the normal. So now we'll go, the low fade is the hard one because it's just never really felt natural to me to try and fade a low shot. So we'll give it our best here again. Playing it back in the stance, which goes against a fade, so that's why it is a tough one. Oh, and it didn't get it. I get that one pretty good. We're gonna give ourselves that one. 4 of 4 then. All right, so now we'll go high draw. Also a little bit tough for me. Give it a shot though. Try and really feel kind of handsy. Not something I try and do normally, but. Oh. Damn, that was pretty good. Performing for the camera. All right, so we got 2 of the, I mean, watch out, Tiger. We're hitting it pretty good here. All right, so next one we'll go middle trajectory, but with a fade. Oh, that was terrible. That doesn't count. Didn't get that one. Hit that one fat. I mean, it's not gonna hurt you. But we missed one. Can't go all 9 of 9. It's okay. So next one we'll do high into the middle. See if we can get it. Get that top middle tic-tac-toe. Ooh. Now I would never recommend hitting all these balls this fast. Just trying to film the video. It does help you stay a little sharp, but take regular breaks, check your alignment, go through your routine. You guys know the drill. Now we'll go straight with the low flight. Pretty good. Kind of pushed it, but we'll give myself like a half point on that one. Now we need middle trajectory, I think is the last one here, with the draw. So again, a little back in my stance. Oh, that was terrible. That one's not gonna hit it. So I think we got like what, 6.5, 7, depending on it. But use the 9-shot drill to learn about where you're hitting it. Again, if you wanna really make it tough, use the old butter blade. But I think that it's a really good drill just to mix it up. Oh yeah. And have some variability to your practice and keep you mentally engaged. Now, another iron drill that I use all the time is just simply using the Tour Tempo app and getting that 3-to-1 timing. If you're not using that app, I truly feel like you're making golf so much harder on yourself. It's $25. Like, think how much stupid stuff you've bought for $25 that you've never used. This app I use 90% of all practice sessions, whether it's short game, chipping, bunkers, irons, driver, you just hear the tones, because if your tempo is off, everything gets so much harder. I think it was Jack Nicklaus or Nick Faldo who said, tempo is the glue of the swing. It really is. I mean, if your tempo gets too slow or too fast, good luck. So I will just like to listen to the tones and just kind of hear that tour tempo. You know, that's
swing,
really
set, through. Swing, set, through.
One of the easiest ways to practice. 3 to 1. That's the ideal tempo. 3 times as long on your backswing as your downswing. I love to hear people say, that's, you know, stupid, or what about this guy who has this tempo? You're right, there are some one-off people, but if you look at the best players and you look at their consistent tempo, it's 3 to 1. There's different speeds, but they're all 3 to 1 ratio. I've had the creator John Novosol Jr. on my podcast several times talking about this, and I love this app. I mean, whew, doesn't get much better than that. So make sure to dial in your tempo. If your swing feels off, if you're in a slump, if you don't know how to practice that day, if you just show up without a plan, throw in the Tour Tempo app, guarantee it'll help your game. And honestly, the last way we want to be practicing is using a launch monitor to make sure your distances are dialed. Obviously, I'm at a simulator here, but you want to have one, either put it right next to it or right behind it and track your distances. If you don't know how far you hit every club, you're never going to have the type of confidence that you want on the course. You have to make sure you know how far every club goes and have a 3/4 distance with those irons as well. So that way you have your full swing and then you have that knockdown distance. So our knockdown distance is going to be like kind of our shoulder. Phil Mickelson referred to this as his Pell's iron. So with the Pell's iron, he's trying to choke up just a little bit and then just go shoulder to shoulder. It's obviously great because it takes some distance off, lowers the trajectory, and kind of adds some more distances that you feel comfortable with on the course. Because as you guys know, we have wind, we have elevation, we're stuck in between clubs a lot of times. So develop your distances, carry your distance chart with you. It will change your game. Those are some of my favorite practice drills that I use with irons, and I recommend you do the same. So I'm not saying you have to use these ones. Maybe a couple of them will help. Maybe you're struggling with early extension or an inside takeaway like a lot of golfers. So give them a try, but I challenge you to not spend all your time practicing technical stuff like this. It's needed sometimes, but you want to make sure that you're still doing some variable practice, like the 9-shot drill. You want to make sure you're doing some competitive practice where you're doing some challenges or some heart rate based exercise. You want to make sure you're practicing your routine so your timing feels good. You know how to walk into the shot. So that way, again, you're mixing it up. And if you can, go practice on the golf course sometimes so you can practice from rough, side hill lies, fairway bunkers, and all the other stuff you can't do at the driving range. Here is a great video now to help you with 5 types of practice, and you can watch this one as well to avoid some of the most common practice mistakes. Keep playing, wicked smart. Remember, it's not about a perfect swing, it's about a consistent swing. Woo.